Right. Need to hire someone to do like a really super exciting intro, just like theme song. Welcome everybody to another proverb each day or every day or whatever I'm calling this. Yes. Had an early morning. Got up, did some yard work because it was a nice cool morning. So in Middle Tennessee, where I live, that's an important thing. When you have when those mornings are nice, it's important to take advantage. So I did. So anyway, good to be with you here today. We're going to go through Proverbs 8 in the Message translation today, but we always start with a little bit of prayer. So let's do that. Father God, thank you for allowing us to have us in your life. Thank you that you invite us in, not only to learn, but to be in relationship with you, that we can actually have a one-to-one relationship with you. It's not just something that's just a ethereal, maybe kind of thing, but it is an actual relationship. So, Father, we thank you for that. And we also thank you for all the gifts of wisdom that you've given us. And may we take these words today and integrate them into our hearts and our minds and our lives. We pray this in your son's name. Amen. All right. Cool. All right. Well, let me do the needful here. By the way, if you're watching this, I'm curious what platforms are actually preferred for people. I see kind of equal on YouTube and Facebook. More people I don't know on YouTube, obviously, and more people I do know on Facebook. So I've been broadcasting to both. But I'm curious if anyone has like preferences or reasons why. Feel free to leave them in the chat and that sort of thing. Yeah, make it happen. So let's get into Proverbs 8. All I need to do is click on the correct button. There we go. We're getting there this morning. Maybe a little bit of coffee before we go. There we go. Proverb 8 in the Message translation. Lady Wisdom calls out. Do you hear Lady Wisdom calling? Can you hear Madam Insight raising her voice? She's taken her stand at First and Main, the busiest intersection, right in the city square where traffic is thickest. She shouts. She shouts. Come on, Deej. You. Yo. I'm talking to all of you, everyone out here on the streets. Listen, you idiots. Learn good sense. Blockheads, shape up. Don't miss a word of this. I'm telling you how to live well. I'm telling you how to live at your best. My mouth chews and savors and relishes truth. Can't stand the taste of evil. Some highlighting to do here. You'll only hear true and right words from my mouth. Not one syllable will be twisted or skewed. You'll recognize this as true, you with open minds. Truth ready minds will see it all at once. Prefer my life disciplines over chasing after money, and God knowledge over a lucrative career. For wisdom is better than all the trappings of wealth. Nothing you could wish for holds a candle to her. Wow. I said this last time, but I'll say it again. I love the thought and the counterpoint here. Yesterday we looked at the promiscuous woman who stands in the streets but doesn't stand in a prominent space. She's waiting to deceive and draw people in that way. It's very specific people she's looking for. Wisdom is right in the middle of the busiest parts of the street. She is out there for everyone to see. She is not discriminating against who she's calling out to, and she does not hold back. I think of like street preachers and that sort of thing that are usually ignored, but could you really ignore Lady Wisdom on the street? If you picture a busy city and she's right there, shouting out to all of you, would you be able to ignore that? I don't know if I would. And we're called to that. It's a similar methodology, but we're called to wisdom, just like we have other voices calling to us. But one is the one that is the one we should be listening to. And I just saw a message. Hopefully, my audio coming through okay. I see the indicator that it is, but I've been having all sorts of problems in this last week or so. So hopefully, all is well. I'm just going to go in faith that that little indicator that's going back and forth means that my voice is okay. And I'm just going to continue on. Yay, technology. Um, I like this, and I highlighted this in green because these are anytime I highlight something in green, it is a reminder to me to take action. This is something actually to to integrate into my life directly at the time I highlight it. And so it is important for me when I get into modes like I'm currently in, where there's not a lot of money coming in necessarily, that I need to not chase after it, if that makes sense. And so I need to chase after wisdom, not after money, and know that that is the better path, and that I have faith that everything else will come just fine, and all is well. There we go. And I'm assuming that means not just with my voice. Excellent. All right. Well, let's move on to starting at 12. I am Lady Wisdom. I live next to sanity. Knowledge and discretion live just down the street. The fear of God means hating evil, whose ways I hate with a passion, pride and arrogance and crooked talk. Good counsel and common sense are my characteristics. I am both insight and the virtue to live it out. I like that. With my help, leaders rule and lawmakers legislate fairly. With my help, governors govern along with all in legitimate authority. I love those who love me. Those who look for me find me. Wealth and glory accompany me. Also, substantial honor and a good name. My benefits are worth more than a big salary, even a very big salary, for the returns on me exceed any imaginable bonus. Here you can find me on Righteous Road. That's where I walk, the intersection of Justice Avenue, handing out life to those who love me, filling their arms with life, armloads of life. I think this is one of the things I like about the message translation. I think it captures a spirit of the uh, poetic nature of this, and so I think I like the way it does it. I mean, a lot of people are critical of the translation of not being literal, and that's not the point. And it's takes some license with some modern ways of saying things, but generally speaking, I like this, and I believe that words on the page are transformed by the Spirit, and this is the kind of thing that helps me transform that, and so I appreciate it. That's just my take on this, but I like the well, and obviously there's some one political things here that are always necessary and often ignored, very often ignored. But also there's some things I wonder if people are going to start bringing this one up with the whole Intel thing and Pat's tweet from Sunday and that sort of thing. So I'm sure he read this today or will read this today and will think even about that. And who knows? Who knows? I think he lives like that, so I think it's going to be okay. But it's important to realize that the money is just a tool. It is just a thing. It is not. It doesn't have a value associated with it in terms of like a moral value. Money is just money. But if we seek after wisdom more than that, that is of value. That is of not only moral but character and literal value to us. We are more valuable of people when we live in wisdom. So let's highlight that way. Righteous Road at the intersection of Justice Avenue. All right, let's move on to verse 22. God sovereignly made me the first, the basic, before he did anything else. I was brought into being a long time ago, well before Earth got its start. I arrived on the scene before ocean, yes, even before springs and rivers and lakes. Before mountains were sculpted and hills took shape, I was already there, newborn. Long before God stretched out Earth's horizons and tended to the minute details of soil and weather and sky firmly in place, I was there. When he mapped and gave borders to wild ocean and built a vast vault of heaven and installed the fountains of that fed ocean, he drew a boundary for sea, posted a sign that said no trespassing, and then staked out Earth's foundations. I was right there with him, making sure everything fit. Day after day, I was there with my joyful applause, always enjoying his company, delighted with the world of things and creatures, happily celebrating the human family. A couple of things here. Um, and I know my mother is watching, and so she remembers this very clearly. I'm sure back in 1994. Oh yes, 30 years ago. There was a conference that was held that was called Reimagining God, and there was some different interpretations of these passages in Proverbs, where there started to be some worship of wisdom of Sophia as a part of God. Um, and we see a lot of this kind of thing today. Still, we still see the wanting to reject God as male, and so you just integrate the Sophia image. But that's not what this is. This is a symbolic thing of saying that we were started with wisdom, therefore we need to start with wisdom. It's one of the reasons why my habit now, and why I'm glad to be doing this every day, is to start my days with wisdom. In other words, wisdom was first in the world. It was the first thing that was created before anything was actually physically created. The 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 concept, the thing that is wisdom, was created, and so that's why poetically we're saying this, that this was there first. And why there's a lot of poetry with this, I'm not really sure, but honestly, yeah, it is. This is a good word here. Redefining God to match human understanding is exactly backwards, in my humble opinion. It doesn't have to be a humble opinion. It's a right opinion, so you don't have to be humble about it. Um, you can be you. We need like I am ho, or I am ro, in my righteous opinion. A new way to say that. But it's true. We we need to remember that too. That we are not to reform what God is. We're not to reinterpret this, because wisdom was there first, and it was a thing we're called to walk in first. And if we're not doing that, that's when all these other things, all these aberrations come in. Ironic there, but that's what that is. So yeah, very cool language here that I think can be confusing as to why it was so long to say this, but this is trying to get the the point across. Is it's like everything you see around you, literally everything, wisdom was first, and wisdom is the most important part of that. Let's move on to the last section, starting in 32. So, my dear friends, listen carefully. Those who embrace these my ways are most blessed. Mark a life of discipline and live wisely. Don't squander your precious life. Bless the man, bless the woman who listens to me, awake and ready for me each morning, alert and responsive as I start my day's work. When you find me, you find life, real life, to say nothing of God's good pleasure. But if you wrong me, you damage your very soul. When you reject me, you're flirting with death. Again, see, and I hope this is something where people are catching this properly, that this is not. condemnation. Wisdom is not condemnation. Wisdom doesn't say, you do right or you're going to hell. That's not what this is saying. And I know I repeat that almost every single day, but I need it to be heard. I need it to be understood out there that it's not about a right or wrong condemnation kind of thing. It is living in a pathway that leads to life. Knowing that the alternative is a natural death. If you do that damage to yourself by not living the way we were intended to live, then atrophy takes place and we die. Not only in physicality, but in spirit and eternally, we die. It has nothing to do with, you know, it's very clear right here that it has nothing to do with, saying the right words or doing the right things or the magic phrase. It has everything to do with allowing your life to be transformed. And it has everything to do with making it so that your life is not only just cleansed, because that's what we need for our sins. Sins need to be cleansed. There's no doubt, you know. But when it comes to living a life that is not only rich but also brings life to others, we have to have that wisdom here. We have to have that. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Is the only way to say that. So I hope that was helpful today. And this is actually a good one. I love Proverbs 8. It's a great call to the uncalled, I guess you could say. um, so anyway, I do want to put this up again and invite you all to join us for uh, a 14 days of juice fasting. But you don't have to do juice. You can do some other things too. But it's something we're doing corporately, and so we'll have a small group of people. It's a great way to meet new people of similar thoughts and faith and that are walking in wisdom as well. But mostly it is a time that we can explore fasting together, and I can help you uncover the kind of things that I have uncovered in my life through the power of fasting. It is what the devil fears the most is fasting. It is what casts out demons is fasting. And so we are going to have a time frame of purify. Purify is the name that or the word that has come to me or as a theme for this. And so a lot of times when I'm doing a fast, I'll have a question or um, a calling or something. It was during times of fasting that I've been called towards things like this, and called towards things like the parable of talents and the kind of transformation that's had in my life, and I'll be sharing down the road here I don't want to say very soon. That's not the way to say that. I have some other things that I'm working on to, I guess you could say, pay the bills for a while. But eventually I will get to the point of sharing more about that and seeing that. But in the meantime, this is what the current call is to do a fast with everybody and kind of share what I've learned that way. So each of these days I've been kind of giving little tips on juice fasting. So let me pull up. I need to change. There we go. Change the window here. And all right, let's see. So what I want to do is have ourselves a look. I'm just going to use the Nashville area as an example here. And what I wanted to do is demonstrate how to kind of look for places that do juicing and that sort of thing. And so um, this is just kind of my methodology. Just probably the way I should do it too. But if I just search literally for like juice and start there, I can start looking at um, things like this. So cafes are one thing. Um, but when you see things like this that they do their own packaging, believe it or not, that's actually a pretty good sign. Not only that they have well, they're usually doing it on their own and packaging it, for example. Now, it might be a more pricey option sometimes when it is packaged like that. Just FYI, but a lot of times they'll have programs that will be helpful where you can actually just have a cadence of going to get juice or juices that are appropriate for what we're doing, and so yeah, I'll trying to start and reveal more of that as we go along, kind of my methodology for kind of surviving it and realizing a threshold. Um, but as you can see, like in the Nashville area here, we've got tons of options that are all around. And so, what I want to have you avoid, though, is things like Smoothie King. While it sounds great, um, there's a lot of things on there that you and this is not to say that that's bad for you or anything like that. What I'm My problem with things like Smoothie King is that they tend to be more of sugary kind of things, the sugar added kind of things, or just generally too sugary. And so I tend to avoid that because really, when we're looking at trying to purify ourselves, we're not looking for very sweet juices. We're looking for much more of hearty and a lot of berries and things like that, but not necessarily a lot of like orange and things like that that are going to spike our blood sugar and make ourselves miserable. Basically, is what it does. I'll go over more of that tomorrow, I think, maybe or Saturday. We'll see. But anyway, I tend to avoid things like that. Just one because they're not as focused on the healthy juices, but also just to keep temptation from you. It sounds weird to say that, I know, um, but when you're doing a process like this, that sometimes just keeping the temptation away is really important. And um, so yeah, things like a juice cafe can be kind of a mixed bag too. But this is where we kind of get into the whole um, looking at their website and seeing what kind of things we're seeing here. So there we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So if they have a juice cleanse program, this is usually a good option to where you can just have a cleanse program set up for you. And so um, I don't know how long this would actually last. You just probably need to go in and talk to a place like this. But the point here is to find something that's going to work, that's relatively close to you, that's going to work both financially and actually that price is about what I've seen elsewhere as well. But I think, if I'm being honest, I've seen better quantity of juices. This looks like, if I'm interpreting this right, as far as size goes, this looks like enough for about maybe a day or two. This would not be necessarily a 5 day kind of a thing, but maybe it is. But kind of cool that you have a way to kind of have a smoothie to kind of transition you inward to kind of make it easier to get to that point. That's a pretty cool notion here. Um, so yeah, that's cool. Let's see what other options we have just to kind of explore here. Um, Juice Farm. That's clever. I like that. Juice Farm. Let's see what they look like. Menu. Juice Cleanse. Right there. Ah, yes. Okay. This is great. So this is a good looking option from what it looks like here. I think what you're doing is you're choosing a yes, perfect. So you're choosing a number of days. Um, Now, if you if you're like me, what you find when you transition downward to a juicing fast like this is it may say 3 days worth. You may get 4 or 5 out of it, and so that's why I kind of recommend having something that's relatively close by. Um, but you can also see that it's a pricey option to do it this way, but it is a good way to kind of dip your toe in, I guess you could say. Um, and I think at some point we're going to want to talk through getting materials for doing your own juicer and that sort of thing. In fact, I think those are in there's some links in the description for if you want to grab your own juicer and make your own juice. Um, as you can see, sometimes it's cheaper to just buy your own juicer than to have someone else make just 3 days of juice for you. So, but they're obviously better at it. It's more convenient and that sort of thing. And so, great thing, DoorDash. I didn't even think about that. So some of you might be in areas where you could actually just have it delivered to you. That's great. Um, so yeah, that's the blend. That's cool. I'm just trying to think of any that I've actually gone to be able to recommend. Um, yeah. Anyway, it's. I think you're getting the gist of it. I hope. Um, where you can actually just like look at what's going to make sense or not. Ah, here's another thing. A good option too of finding uh, specific recipes of vegetables to juice and combinations thereof. Sometimes combining little fruit and veggies can work wonders for being able to kind of quote unquote survive it. So anyway, so that's cool stuff. I don't know if I see. Yeah, this might just be something to look at from a local standpoint. But like I said yesterday, and I'll say again today, when it comes to a juice fast, one of the things you want to avoid is the overly pasteurized or processed juices that are usually found in the grocery store. Every now and then, you can find good quality juice in the grocery store, but they tend to have more preservatives and things like that that you don't want in a juice cleanse. Our whole point here is not necessarily as a lifestyle choice. We're actually literally taking our body into a different state, and so it's really important to keep the right kind of mindset with that too. So I hope that is helpful and something that is a blessing to you as we prepare for a time of fasting. And once again, uh, because I think I forgot to put the description or put this in the description just yet. So just in case there's a QR code you can scan with your phone or whatever, or just look for. I'll try and pin it to the first comment after we get done here today on the various platforms of how you can join me and us for a time of fasting. So look forward to seeing you there, and I will look forward as well to seeing you tomorrow for another proverb. And as we do each day, yeah, you know what's coming. Be blessed by the best, and be a blessing to all the rest. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.